Hey everybody, this is William Rochelle, but you can call me Bill, and this is UBU Live, the Cousin Talk edition. Before we get started, I have a couple of things I want to kind of address. The first thing is that UBU Live, the intention is that every single person here gets a chance to be themselves, to be their authentic self, to be who they are. And the Cousin Talk edition was something that my cousin Bill and I, we did it one time and he had so much fun. He said, well, I want to do it next week. And so we invited Debbie and we invited some other people, and it just kind of took on a life of its own. Luckily, I have not had to go out and search for guests because most people have reached out to me. With that said, I understand that not everyone's going to agree with the format. Not everyone's going to agree with how I am producing the show and what we're doing with it. And that's fine. And I will tell you to be you. You don't have to come on. But what I will also say is the magnificence of this is phenomenal. So I spoke to my cousin, Chris, at least 2 times last week. And we've texted multiple times. I've spoken with my cousin Bill since we started this multiple times. And I spoke with another cousin. I met up with Nick. Debbie and I are having communications regularly. And Tony and Lisa and I are texting back and forth. So for me, we can always look at what we don't like about something, but let's talk about what we do like and what's happening. We are connecting, and not on a surface level, but on a deep dive into who we are. And we are sharing that healing experience with someone out there that will say, you know what? My family is just like that. Because we're all looking at someone's Instagram feed and thinking that's how family is. This is how family is, the good, bad, and the ugly. And you know what? We love each other for it. The final thing I'm going to say before I bring my guests on is that I want to say something about my mother. Uh-oh, someone out there backstage, face kind of grimaced. Mom, I know that you have been super supportive of me. I deeply appreciate that. I know that you've been under a tremendous amount of stress, taking care of Grandma Lance, taking care of your own mother, taking care of Aunt Joyce, taking care of 3 kids that seem like they are not appreciative of it. What I've learned from this is that me, Bill, Chris, we all have our issues, and we all can see what was done wrong. But I recognize that each and every one of you through this journey have done your best. Each and every one of you have gone up and above to do what you thought was the best. And Mom, I know that you love me. I know that you feel underappreciated. I know that I am difficult sometimes. I respect all of that. But the bottom line is, when I was a child, you were my hero. And as I grow older, I understand what you went through more. And one thing I learned from my brother Philip is that I need to shut up sometimes and let him finish what he was about to say, because there are some times where I kind of predetermine what I think he's going to say, and I step over him. And so in this season, I'm going to listen with intention to understand you better. And that's love. And with that said, we're going to welcome the oldest person in the group, Debbie Scott.
Okay, you got me. I was getting ready to break out to the tears because that was lovely. That was very good.
Was it? Okay. Yeah. We have the second person in the group. And the third person needs to come back to the stage, please.
Hello.
We have Devin. And Devin is the youngest child of Jimmy Scott and the brother to Chris.
Right.
You do realize I know his name is CJ, right?
Ooh, you
Man, I don't know if you get re-upped every episode for how many times you get to say Chris, but you might want to double check.
Oh, when I called out your brother 2 days ago
Mhm.
and said, why haven't you responded? And he said, oh, I'm sorry, Bill. I'm not at home watching paint dry like you. That was a hell of a dig.
Yeah, well,
You
yeah, he
know,
remembers good. He remembers pretty well, and he has no problem coming back at you. So
I've had the best time since we reconnected. I mean, it's good. And
he does it with love.
he's honestly, I feel like I've reconnected and it's a forever connection.
Yeah.
Like we're not going to let the time pass like we did before, but we actually have more control of it now. So that's what's so fantastic about it. And then final, which is going to be interesting. Talk about polar opposites. We have my brother. Philip Rochelle. And Pooji last week gave me some clarity and some wisdom. And one of the things he said was, you watched the full episode, right, Devin?
I did.
Okay. So one of the things he said was, I don't want to repeat, negative things, but he said, Phil and I dealt with trauma differently. So I became an introvert, and my brother is the epitome of an extrovert. And it was interesting because that man can pick up any football, any baseball, any golf club. He is a little bit, we're twins. Yeah, let's say that. And, me being an introvert, he would like fight for me. And then we'd get home and I would beat him up. And one day my mother said, well, but don't forget I came from a house of abuse. So that's learned behavior. So we need to kind of check that out. One day my mother said, he loves you so much that he doesn't hit you back as hard as he could because that boy could kick your ass. And I was like, I thought about it for like 10 seconds, Debbie. I think that was the last time I ever picked a fight with him.
I know that feeling. I did the same thing with my brother.
I was like, I'm not. Well, Gumi was
He was big.
Gumi was a wrestler when we were kids, right?
Yes. Yeah, he went to school on a wrestling scholarship. Yeah. And he could pick me up and throw me down if he wanted to, but he wouldn't.
Hey, Sandri, do you want to come on? We can send you a link. I can send it to your dad. I can send it to you. Let me know. We'd love to have you.
She's the best.
Huh?
Who's Sandri? Okay.
Sandri is Chris's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Devin's niece. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's start with Phil, because even though he's an introvert, I think we need to pull him out in order to kind of get him going. So Phil, what's going on?
I'm just being respectful, bro. This your shit. This is your shit.
See, guys, that's what I mean.
I was just being patient, homie.
I know. So tell me what's going on in Springfield, Illinois.
Well, right now it's a beautiful day, man. Me and my son went fishing last night, and matter of fact, you speaking to Uncle Pooji, me and him just had some beers, man. So just basically relaxing, having a great day. And hey, man, I couldn't be at a better place right now, bro.
I appreciate that. And Debbie, what's really weird is that as much as we didn't get along, I can call my brother right now and he always picks up. Mm-hmm. Always. Yeah. So we had a different panel and we dropped one. And I called Phil and said, would you come on? And even though he is an extrovert, he doesn't like, I don't think he loves the spotlight on him. So him saying yes was like shocking to me. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I'm gonna come on the show as long as you be you, as long as I can be me. That's let me tell you something. Hey, listen, man. I'm not gonna waste my time on no other show where I got to be a phony motherfucker. If I could come on this show and be myself, hey, I'm all in, player. Oh, I didn't. Did I just you? Can we use foul language on this? No, I don't want to use no.
No, Phil, no.
Man.
You don't want to use none. I think you've used every word. Can't use.
You're,
But,
you're
hey.
a little late. You're a little late.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. Happy Mother's Day to this is Mother's Day weekend, so happy Mother's Day to any mothers who might be watching, and hopefully that gets me out the doghouse. But I listen, Bill. I love what you're doing, man, and you know me, man. If
Yeah. If you didn't
if I didn't feel it, I wouldn't be here.
That's true.
I know that.
That is
I
true.
know that. You have
In that
become
order.
my moral compass, which I find to be very, very beautiful and very, very different. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, we're not going to get into it, but I was just devastated. And I called Phil and I'm like, just was like, and he listened.
Yeah.
He listened. And he told me to be myself. You know? And that was beautiful and amazing and appreciative. Devin, so we're going to roll over to you. So you live where?
I'm in outskirts of Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
So just south. I'm kind of between Cincinnati and Columbus.
All right. And tell me about you, because I know nothing. So like start from the beginning.
All right. I mean, just kind of who I am in general. I'm a big lover of sports. That's kind of one of the things that kind of pushed me through my life for the most part. Grew up playing pretty much anything I could. Basketball was kind of my big sport that I was the best at. I love football most, but I was tiny, man. I was the opposite of what we all look, what all of our parents look like. I think like by the time I made it to high school, my freshman year, I might have been 80 pounds, maybe. So when I, of course, was like, hey, I'm ready for football. I'm fast. I'm ready to go. They're like, no, like we're not even allowed to put you on the team. Your muscles aren't developed enough. Your bones aren't. So, some of that love sports, that was, that first devastation that you kind of go through. But, big sports person. And that's kind of led a lot of the things I look at in life when it comes to structure, leadership, competitiveness, bonds, being able to build with people. So that's one of the big things that kind of makes me who I am. But growing up, I grew up kind of back and forth between California and Ohio.
Okay.
My mom's family's mostly here. And obviously most of the rest of my family, at least immediate, was in California. I am, I think, 16 years younger than CJ. So growing up, for the most part, CJ was already in school, military. So for the most part, we didn't grow up together when it come to like being near each other all the time. So when he was home for a stint. And I know for me at the time, you're a kid, you're growing up, just being, in either spot, you're just kind of living. You're just, whatever comes up, you do it. You go knock it out, you go enjoy it as much as you can. So, when I would come to California in the summers, I would go to day camp, and we can get into some fun stories about that later. But, I would go to day camp every day. Dad was working at Raytheon. So, they leave at 4 a.m. and get home at 7 p.m. So you kind of make things work the best you can. And there was a lot of just kind of almost feeling like I was living in my own lane, even when I was young. And, you know, Ohio and California are so different when it comes to the social dynamic of the people you're around, the conversations you have. And it was really interesting how different I was depending on where I was, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I was still always kind of in between. So when I was in Ohio, I was a little more proper with my language, and you know, my clothes weren't as baggy, and I didn't have to pay attention to what colors I wore, you know. And then when I would go home and be in California, everything else changes. You know, you either have to decide how you're getting to where you're getting, because it's not necessarily a straight line. Because if you're wearing different colors, you got to go around different blocks.
But you grew up in Carson, so that wasn't gangland.
Victoria Park Crips were no joke.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I went to Victoria Park for camp. So just to get there was always a journey every single day. But I learned pretty quickly with both friends and you know, family members that, like my stepbrother, who I'm a little closer in age to, you know, he went to the same camp. So, you know, I learned pretty quickly what not to do, who not to get and, you know, deal with. And with me playing sports and at that time being pretty good at it, you know, you get around some people that want you to be a part of certain things because they see you, they recognize you. You know, so I quickly said, hey, look, yeah, I play basketball. I'll hang out with you guys when you want to play basketball, but I also go to swimming. You know, I'm on the swimming team, and that instantly was like, oh, that's not like us. Right. You know, so I made a very conscious effort, and you know, when I was in California and my demeanor changed a little bit, I always still spoke really well at a young age, and it was just one of those things. Man, I just, the amount of people I would watch get pulled over for nothing. And if they just spoke the way I spoke, it might get them out of something, right? And it's sad that I learned that at like 9 years old, right? You know, so those are some of those things that, you know, I didn't see as much in Ohio. But, you know, I had this back and forth my whole life of not fitting in either spot, kind of looking for that acceptance when it comes like culturally for me.
Hey, Devin.
Yes.
I'm glad the Crips is getting some love on my brother's show.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
No.
Well, and the funny thing is in Carson, it's kind of like I always grew up learning like, hey, if there's plenty of gang members in Carson. The difference was that was where they retired. You know, like you came from Compton, you got a little money, you moved to Carson because you're only a couple blocks away.
Hey, it's about time we start talking about Compton and Crip and get to this.
So it was definitely interesting. You know, you see the old, you know, the OGs just working on cars, and they, to be honest, nicest people in the world, protected everybody. Very different than obviously some of the younger kids, but it was very different lives, right? Going between both. And I grew up really fast because of that. So good and bad. You know, plus being the youngest by such a significant, you know, number. You know, when Dad had me, he was 44, something like that. So, you know, by the time I'm growing up, you know, he's comfortable. You know, not financially else, it just purely in like he knows who he is at that point. He's always known who he is, but you know, like he's not changing what he does on his daily basis, you know, on what he's getting into and the things like that, right? So, you know, for me, there wasn't a lot of discovery together. It was, hey, you want to do what Dad's doing? Cool, let's go. You know, and then
home by yourself.
Well, no, I just wouldn't. That wasn't an option. You would go. You're going to be on the boat. You're going to go fishing today. Okay. You know, granted, it's not like I didn't enjoy it, you know, but of course, you know, fishing with Dad is not 2 hours. You know, it's a 14-hour day. So I want to go swimming after about 2.5 hours. You know, and now I can't catch fish because I'm scaring them away. So, you know, there's a lot of those stories. you know, but yeah, just very, I grew up, I almost have two different lives growing up between where I was. And I think I've tried to take advantage of that at this point in my life. I know how I want to raise my girls. I know kind of how I structure my career, my life on what I think is important and, you know, kind of structuring my time. And a lot of that has to do with kind of the mixture of those two worlds.
Got it. Which area do you prefer?
I don't know that I would ever live in LA again. I enjoy if I didn't live in either and I had to go visit, I'd pick LA, you know, but staying and living in comfort, I can do a lot more here in Ohio with my money and my time.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem I'm having right now is I live in Florida. I'm close to the beach, and I could not do this in Los Angeles at all.
Oh yeah. It's a whole different. I mean, I lived in New York for a while as well, and it's so interesting how similar when it comes to the work environment is, even though the people are almost polar opposites, right? You know, it's everyone's nice in California, but nobody's being honest.
Right.
And everyone in New York is honest, but they're all assholes. You know, they'll just tell you about it. Like I always tell people, like, you're gonna get a best friend in 10 minutes, but you'll have a fist fight in 5. But then you're best friends afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that was New York. In LA, it's a little different. Either you knew each other growing up or you don't know them.
Got it.
You know.
So I'm gonna try to put some pieces together, okay? So your dad is James. Jimmy. Okay. And then you said you have a stepbrother. So your mom had another child?
Dad. No, so Rita's kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Scotty, Teresa. When I was in California, those are the two that were home still when I was visiting.
Got it.
So I spent a lot of time with them growing up, which just meant, a lot of, you know, getting beat up and wrestled and held down, you know. Yeah. I was still 8 years younger than the youngest. Right. So, you know, big gaps.
Yeah. So that's kind of what Phil went through. Being held down, slapped around, and then my mom saying, he can kill you.
Yeah.
Listen, man, listen. My whole thing was I just didn't believe in brothers fighting brothers.
But we did, or I did.
No, you fought me. I was like, motherfucker, if this gets you off, go ahead. But I don't believe in the retaliation aspect of it, because when I retaliate, then it's game on, player.
Yeah, it becomes real. Yeah.
It's game on. So I sacrificed, you know what I'm saying? So I just don't believe, I never believed in brothers fighting each other.
And you knew your temperament well enough to know that once you got mad, like you
said, was over with. So what I did was, let me tell you what I did. Whenever me and my brother got into it, like Devin said, I just took it to the streets.
So Philip was, so I believe that I grew up super wealthy. That's what's in my head. And remember this, when you're talking to someone, you have to listen to it through that person's lens, because everyone has a different, you can live in the same house and everyone have a different experience. Phil will say that he grew up in gangland territory. And what happened was he would actually drive to gangland territory. We lived in a gated community. But Philip,
wait. Let me explain something to you. Like Devin said, by me playing sports, I was around all kind of people. Now, once we left that gated community, we still had to deal with the essays and other gang scenarios. When you play sports, it's open to everybody. That's where I got the gang experience, from being around sports.
Got it. Hold on, I'm getting some questions here. You guys can continue talking. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, we thought, you said,
I did, but I didn't need to stop you guys from
You
talking.
said
Well,
Oh,
Devin, I got something to say to you. I know Banning and Carson has some hell of a football games.
Mhm. Yeah, there's, I mean, and Grant, I know Billy talked about this last episode, a couple episodes where, Carson's come up a little bit. They built that Olympic Training Center where that old college used to be, and things got nice. Of course, that's the second dad left. He's like, no, I'll never leave. How much? Okay. So it's definitely changed a little bit, but it does seem like there's a generation of guys that they didn't have a different option, right? That you see, and especially in the way AAU is now and 7-ons and all this stuff, where you see a lot of those guys trying to help out again and try to give a different, show a different route. Like, hey, if I keep you here on the field and hang out more, you're not going to be put in those positions. And if you are, I was in that position. Don't make me go back to that because I'll put you back down. And it's working. There's a lot of kids that I feel like are finding a different route. But not everybody's good at sports, so there's always going to be, those outlets that are missed. And then you have to hope schooling, has a different outlet for them. And we, that's hit and miss anywhere you live. That's not just
I asked you, hey, Devin, I asked you about Banning and Carson, Banning High School. And you went on to some.
I didn't go to high school in California, but I know. So even
okay.
like,
hey, cousin Debbie, how you doing? Cousin Debbie. What's up, Debbie? What's up, Debbie? Talk to me.
How you doing, Phil? I miss you, Phil. You know that.
He's gonna take over. So
what's going on with you? Talk to me.
I'm living life here in Atlanta, and I'm so glad I'm down here.
You in Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm outside. Nobody actually lives in Atlanta. I'm outside of Atlanta, but
I got you.
Yeah, but I have to say this one thing. I saw Devin when he was little.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a long time since
I was at one of the reunions not that long ago. Yeah. But even before that, it had been a while.
I think you were graduating from high school when I came up there.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah, because Columbus is only like 100 miles from Cincinnati.
So,
yeah. Jimmy, when he would go see Devin, he would come down and see me for a minute too. And Phil, I remember you and Billy when y'all was babies.
Oh yeah.
When y'all was babies.
Debbie, why do you look like a floating head?
Because I don't have any light on, and I got a dark.
You gonna let Bill get by with saying that to you?
Look, Philip, we have to help some people. They don't understand.
So, Margaret Ackroyd, please expand on your previous point. Are you talking to someone on the panel, or are you talking to Kenneth or James?
I'm gonna go turn some light on. I'll be right back.
Okay. Come on, I wasn't the only one.
Comment about
I wasn't the only one that wondered why she looked like she was a floating head. Like turn them off. Turn them off.
Turn them off?
No. I don't know why.
Bill, I have been respectful of you the last couple of times.
I don't know why you have Christmas wreaths on your wall right now. It's when is it?
It's not May? Christmas trees. They're vines.
Just tell him this is my house. I can have whatever I want on my house.
See, sometimes we got to help those people who don't understand things. You have to educate people on some levels.
Yeah.
Decor
in a home.
You can't let Bill get away with nothing.
He ain't getting away with anything. So we don't need,
What is this Bash Bill Day? I mean,
Yeah,
please
every
explain
day.
it.
That's twice in
Well,
a
you
row.
asking everybody. You was talking about what she had on her wall.
I was just shocked to see a Christmas wreath. I'm sorry.
It's not a
It's
Christmas
May.
wreath. You don't know what a wreath looks like, do you?
That looks like a square,
Hey
whatever it
man,
is.
she's in the Christmas spirit.
There you go.
24/7, 365, okay?
That's right.
How old are your kids, Devin?
I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old.
And they're
Oh,
beautiful.
And they're outside playing right now.
That's
So,
actually
really?
a great age. That's when you're still their hero. And
well, I don't know about that for me yet. It's mom everything right now, but I'll get me right before the teenage years, and then they'll hate everybody. So,
Well,
yeah,
you'll
yeah,
become daddy's. They'll become daddy's girls.
yeah,
Because
just for a little while, and then eventually, hopefully, long term, that's how it'll be. So it's no, it's a good time. They're good for the most part. They're both really smart, and they both have their own very different personalities.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a lot of fun. And I'm lucky enough to have more time than I used to. That was one of the really important things when I changed kind of what I was doing career wise to make sure I had more time
Good,
with them. So
good. When you said you grew up between California and Ohio.
mhm.
So how much time did you live in California and how much time did you live in Ohio? Was it summers in California or was it like 6
Correct. Yeah,
months?
school year in Ohio, and then summer in California, and then every once in a while, maybe a couple times in my formative years, I would run out there for like a Christmas or something. Happened every once in a while. But for the most part, yeah, I was trying not to break up the school year, especially with me playing sports all year long. It allowed me to kind of break away for summer. You can still work on whatever you're working on in the summer, and go out there. Once I got into high school, that got harder. So it even became less going out to California, where it ended up being like go out for a couple weeks rather than 2 months. Things change as you get
Okay.
older.
Understood.
I have a question to ask because the three of y'all basically grew up in a single parent family.
Mhm.
Has it made a difference on how you raise your children, knowing what you
Definitely.
went through as a single parent family?
Go ahead, whoever wants to go first.
I would say you make mistakes anyway, and you don't realize it until they're adults. That there were certain things. So an unhealed parent is your child's first bully, right?
Oh, okay.
That's something
That's
to
a
think
good
about.
point. That's a good point.
I've never spanked Amanda or Brooke. I've been very firm with them. I threw Amanda's phone out. She had an iPhone. I threw it out my car window on the 405 because I told her if she texted one more thing, I was going to throw her phone out the car. And she texted one more thing, and I said, "Give me your phone."
Yeah.
And I threw it out of the car, and she was like, "You're crazy! You're crazy!" And then I realized I would have to buy her a new one. So maybe that was maybe that was a irrational reaction.
Yeah.
I gave them everything that I didn't get.
Was that wise?
And they didn't. Now that they're older, they're more upset that I moved from California, even though I flew them back and forth, on the weekends and stuff like that, than any gift or anything else that I could have given them. My presence is more important to them than possibly a car or a car down payment or
Monetary thing.
Yeah. And so for me growing up, being a single parent, it wasn't easy for my mom. The first thing that I did with my house, I have all white tiles. And this is going to make sense to you, okay? All white tiles. Because whenever someone would come visit us, they would get a rose-colored towel with the blue
towel.
Towel with a blue washcloth and a green this, and I was like, nothing matches. And if you go into my cupboard, all my glasses are the same. They're just rolled up. And that's because if you ever sat down to dinner at our house, me or Phil had broken all the dishes, right? So you get like one glass cup, and then there'd be like a plastic big gulp that we were using. And then, so nothing matched. So this whole sense of matching were things that were important to me. And shopping sprees for Amanda and Brooke were huge. So I would spend way more money than I needed to, especially in the teenage years, on shopping for school clothes and stuff like that. And they didn't need it. They didn't want it. And so right now in their 30s, they're now going to therapy. and I'm
Which ain't a bad thing.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
They recognize it. They recognize it.
But they recognize, and what I also learned, and this has helped me through this conversation with Pooji and Jimmy, and then Chris.
CJ.
Come on. He's gonna
and
come
Bill.
on here and carry him up.
CJ.
I learned that we all make mistakes. And as we get older, the child's lens is different than the parent's lens. Mm-hmm. And we need to figure out how to straddle that.
My thing about it is, my thing was that I was scared as all get out when Phyllis, my wife's name is Phyllis,
mm-hmm.
when Phyllis was pregnant, and we found out we was having a boy, but I prayed about it, and the answer that I received was just be the father that you always wished you had.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So at that point, it became kind of simple. Now it come down to execution because, like Big Bro said, I was involved in sports, but I got some street smarts too, and I got other things.
Phil, did you pass that street smart on to train? Did you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay.
Because it's real out here. This is not a game.
Okay.
Without a doubt, no question. And I'm not going to get into all of that.
No, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because the experiences
Yeah.
that you had.
Oh, no. Yeah, my life experiences, and you got to realize my wife is from Cabrini Green. You know, she's from Chicago.
Yeah.
So she was 120% on board with me saying, look, this is the kind of young man that I think we need to put, out into society.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So basically that's how I did it. I just decided that I was going to be the father that I always wish I had. And,
Okay, Devin, it's your turn.
Yeah.
The girls.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the biggest things for me, I try to reflect on them separately. I'm always a big believer in figure out your path first, right? So like, hey, how would I do this? Just bringing in what I've gone through in life in general, right? My perspective, where I'm at in life, is so significantly different than where my mom was when she had me and where my dad was when he had me, right? So I don't want to take it too direct because it's probably not going to work. It wouldn't make any sense. But one of the biggest things I think for me that I took away from as I got older, kind of looking back at especially for my mom, was there's so much that I didn't see, right? That I didn't understand until not even necessarily when I had children, but seeing it even through my wife's eyes, and seeing how she looked at them and how different her life was going to be and how different my life was going to be, even as just as an individual. She, you always hear that thing of like sacrificing your dreams to make sure your child is not wanting, right? So that they're able to try to do as much as they want, because the kid doesn't know that it's hard to do this. It's hard to go to that camp and this camp, and money isn't a thing, right? We don't really understand it. We see other kids with things that we don't have, but we don't understand that that might not even be an option, right? So as I, got older and got to the point, even before having kids, I really, my mom was always my hero even before that point. And it was a lot to do with just how she handled, society and being a single mother with me. We don't look a lot alike, right? And that came with its own struggles for both of us. And it's crazy to think about, like, it should obviously never be that way.
No. Yeah, but it is.
It still drives me crazy. But that gave me perspective, for my kids too. But the big thing for me was, like, it wasn't just sacrificing a dream. That's not necessarily what it is for everyone. She sacrificed the ability to even just go have a dinner on her own, right? To go and say, hey, I just want to go hang out by myself and have some alone time, right? And go make some new friends, go do whatever it is. And until I got older, really looked back at all the times where, like, I'm like, could she have gone and done this or this or this or this, whatever, for herself, right? And I realized, like, there were so many things I was into, right? And those things that I was into are why I am who I am now.
Yeah.
Those things are only possible. Those things were only possible because she said, I don't need to just do things for me. I don't need to, it wasn't about sacrificing her dream. That's inherently what was happening. But it was just the everyday little things that everybody gets to enjoy by saying, hey, I'm going to go hang out in my office. Honey, can you take care of the kids? I want to go watch the football game with some of my friends. Are you able to take care of this? Hey, I want to go get my nails done. Honey, can you take? That's not an option, right? And that is so beyond what I could even fathom now. I couldn't do that.
Hey, Debbie, I got a question for you.
Uh-oh. Yes, sir.
He wasn't done talking.
So what was it like, being a daughter of a state trooper?
Hold on. I don't think Devin was done talking.
Go ahead, Devin.
It's all right. It's all right. So, that was one of the big things. So just a deep kind of respect and love and understanding for just something that she had to go through and deal with, just emotionally, mentally, of just knowing, like, hey, my life is never going to be just about me anymore. Right. And that she had a love and passion for that idea. It wasn't just that she did it because she had to. Like, it was, she has a passion, love for that time being able to spend with me. Right. And for me, with, two girls, which is a whole different thing. I have no idea, and I'm like, so, like, anybody like sports? Like, what do we do? And, seeing my wife, we're both very independent people. Like, we are very happy to have our own time. We love our time together, but with us, there's a lot of that time that we spend together. That's a lot of
Hold on. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, my daughter, Brooke, and my grandson, Ace.
Oh, come on, look at that hair. That's not fair.
Ace.
Say hi.
Ace.
Who is this?
Ace. Say hi, Grandpa. Yeah, I understand everything you just said. I know.
Me too.
So, Brooke, there's your Uncle Phil.
Hi, how are you?
What's going on? Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day.
And that's my mom's cousin, Debbie. My cousin, Debbie.
Hi.
Hi.
And then that's my cousin, Devin, who I met just now.
You ain't never met Devin before.
No,
Mm-mm.
we
I
chatted
know Billy through stories.
through stories.
Mm, good
So you're
stories.
listening to their stories.
You know, Brooke, you grew up with my story, so I'm sure you have some of your own. But I know you can't talk. You can't stay long because you're out. Where are you at?
We're at the mall.
Okay. Well, enjoy yourself. Bye, Ace.
Say bye.
Happy Mother's
Bye.
Day.
Happy Mother's Day, darling. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. I never met Brooke before. I didn't even know there was a Brooke.
Yeah, actually, you were there when she came for Grandma's birthday, her 100th birthday or 90th birthday. She
At
was
the
12.
reunion?
Mm-mm.
I wasn't at your mother's 90th birthday.
My grandmother's.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bill,
Yes.
you gonna let
Yes.
me ask Debbie a question or no?
Go ahead.
You see, I'm trying to avoid that question.
Hey,
Okay.
you be you. You be you.
First of all, let me. I grew up at a different time than all three of y'all did, because all three of y'all grew up in your own time zones.
Right.
Well, Devin and I are closer in age, so
Bill ain't
He's going
nobody
to keep
close.
doing that.
Ain't
He's going to keep
nobody.
doing it.
Devin, don't believe me. Ain't nobody close to Billy's age. But growing up as the daughter of a policeman, period, has its trials and tribulations. Mine was even worse because I was the child that didn't believe that you could tell me anything. I had to go out and find it out for myself. So I was always out there. And yeah. And my
Mhm.
brother and sister were happy being at home.
Mm.
But I was the one that was, out there exploring the world. Long story short, because I have tales to tell. As I got older, my mother said to me one day, I don't worry so much about you out in the world as I do your brother and sister, because I know you can go out and survive. Because I did, and I had the protection of my parents.
Mm.
It, and also you have to understand, my dad born and raised in Springfield, country boy. My mother born and raised in Chicago, city girl.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the best of both worlds because we
Mm.
traveled back and forth. So mama exposed us to city life, daddy exposed us to small town life. I was blessed that my parents agreed on how they wanted their family to be raised. So, I used to get teased as I got older that um, every it's probably not a good they used to call us the Huxtable family because everything was too good. Y'all had the
wait a
mother
minute.
and
Right.
you know my mom was a
Hold
stay.
on. You were 40 years old when the Huxtables came on. So what do you mean they used to call you the Huxtable family?
When I was talking to people, as I got older and telling them about my family life.
Oh, when you were talking about history.
Yeah, as I, when you start interacting with people,
Man, you let Bill get by with too much.
I don't pay no attention. But anyway, they're saying like, you didn't do what? You didn't do this? You didn't do that? I'm like, no, we didn't. We didn't do that. I still have that today. A lot of people don't believe the family life that I grew up in. I really, as I have aged, realized how blessed I was to have the mother and father that I did.
Bill's getting a
Amen.
lot more comfortable the further these get on in podcasts. He didn't fact check my dad on nothing.
Who? He knew better.
You know what? I didn't first. First, remember this. So there is, for me, this thing generationally that we're looking through things through different lenses. And I said that, like Philip sees life one way, I see it different.
Yeah.
So And that's why I also said in my opener about how about my mom and what I've learned through the show,
Yeah.
that all of us, that the children
Mhm.
see our lives one way, and our parents are like, I did everything I could for my children.
Yeah.
That Pooji said it, Jimmy said it. So it's the lens, so I can't tell someone what their reality is. I can tell you what mine is.
And I was because I am who I am, I would sit down and talk with my mom. You couldn't talk to my dad. That was, but I would talk with my mom, and she opened up enough to let me know how it was raising kids and understanding, because my mother grew up in a single parent family. Her father died when she was 1 year old. So my
Wow.
and during that time, it was really difficult for a single mother to raise two girls in Chicago. Okay. So
Mm.
she knew, what the trials and tribulations of bringing up a family was. So mama was, as we got older, she started opening up more with us. And I was able to realize how blessed I was, but I can also see the struggles of other families as what they're going through. I am so happy that I get to see my younger cousins as you guys are making me very proud of you. The way you're raising your families and exposing your kids to what is necessary to be that good person in this world. I know Philip has done an awesome job with his son. I've always admired what Philip has done with his son. I'm learning about Billy's kids, and Devin, I've known, and you're doing good.
What's amazing about Philip is that he's raising a man that is powerful, and he had no role model to model it after.
Yeah,
I just
I
told
mean,
you the blueprint.
yeah.
I just told you.
And
I
I'm
went.
gonna say,
he had his
No,
own.
no. Let me say.
He
No,
had
you
his own
talking about?
blueprint. You knew what you no. You knew what you wanted from a father, and
yeah,
Here's the
you
deal.
made sure the
It,
train had.
it, here's the deal. I told you. I said. I prayed. I said, God, I don't have no idea because everybody
Yeah,
knows
yeah,
that
yeah.
our dad,
right.
He
you
wasn't there.
know,
He just wasn't
he
there.
he he
He was,
wasn't there.
yeah,
And we grew up in Chicago and Los Angeles.
yeah,
And it is what it is.
yeah,
So I said, God, and the answer I got was just be the father that you always wished you had. Now, me and Bill, we talk about my athletic ability. At some point, because you don't have no father figure, you get into other things because you didn't have that figure there.
yeah. Right, right.
So by me being the father that I always wished I had, I was present in my son's life every day. Basically, my strategy was, son, what do you want to do today?
Yeah,
Whether it was taking him to Barnes and Nobles, the bookstore, by the way,
Ooh, we got it.
or taking him fishing
hmm,
and the other things. So,
yeah. You were
you
there for him.
know,
You were there for him.
Right.
the way he wanted me to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
And it,
that's the key right there.
Yeah.
The way
but
he wanted you to be there.
here's a little caveat to some of the fathers. Another strategy that I used was I'm gonna be the best in my son's life at things that I'm good at.
yeah, Yeah.
and things that I know. Now, now Phyllis, my wife, where I fell short in certain things she could pick up, but you know, I got a lot of wisdom as far as worldly things. I'm pro education, even though I I wouldn't know what to do at Harvard, but I know what I could do. But don't send me to Harvard just to do that. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was present 120% at things that I was good at, that I knew I was good at.
Very good.
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty lucky just with one having that age gap when I was younger was a detriment. But now that I'm, as I got older with CJ going through things in life before I got there, right?
Yeah.
Like I learned I learned a lot of things when it comes to how to present myself and how to set a standard for myself so that, whether it's for my girls or, my relationship, the things to kind of watch out for, look for, and strive to be, and I learned a lot from him. And there's a lot of gaps that I had with dad, mostly just purely out of the fact that, I was, there in the summers, dad's still working, so the time we had are kind of your dinners, right? It's dinners, watch TV, go to bed. And when I go to bed, we're playing Resident Evil in bunk beds, so like there's these, I think it's those kind of moments that of alone time that where I would learn history or where I would learn more about our family that didn't necessarily happen. And there's a little bit of, like you said, the perspective of how I read those situations, which was very vanilla, just neutral. Like there was it wasn't bad or good. For me, it was just normal. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the extreme that a lot of people have had in their negative reactions with fathers being there, not being there. I've had friends that that wish their father weren't around because of being there was worse. In some cases, and just so I feel very lucky that with my dad, I still had someone to call and talk to and deal with, especially when CJ was gone and was in the military. And I was in an age where I didn't understand. I was like, why can't I talk to him? Why is he like? I have friends, their family members have come back, and are able to come back and talk. And because of what he did in the military, he was gone a lot longer. There was no, hey, 6 months and back, a year and back for a month. I went, I think it was like 3 or 4 years where he wasn't even allowed to really reach out. And one of the memories I have with dad that changed my perspective on a lot of things was not understanding when CJ came back why he couldn't talk to me, and
Okay.
there's just, he had just gone through, his knowledge and his everyday life and information he just had wasn't appropriate for me. That wasn't something that most people want to talk to, period, or talk through, but definitely not for me. And dad had to kind of, like, I had reached out to him. I just don't understand. And dad was able to, walk through what he had gone through, and like, hey, and of course, as a boy, dads don't cry, dads, can get shot 15 times. They'll be fine. Like, it's just like, there's no way dad had PTSD. There's no way he came back not being perfect. Right. And getting that perspective kind of brought me down to earth of saying like, hey, it's not him. Maybe this is a me problem. I expected something different. Right. And, I had to kind of slow down and understand, hey, you're not the one who went through that, and it changed kind of the way I take a lot of things in. I try to wait a second. figure out kind of what this means, and maybe it's the right thing to go ask. And Dad's at least always been there for those conversations as needed. I have always trusted my mom more for conversations, just
Right.
like I said, you're around every day, and you know, there's a lot more. She knew me a lot more, obviously. And I've kind of learned, you know, through some of these podcasts and, you know, Tony and CJ, that, you know, a lot of us have mom heroes, you know, in the Scots. We have a lot of mom heroes in the Scots, you know. And like I said, you know, there are some things as I've gotten older that I respect more about my mom, and maybe it's a little less, it's the opposite direction as I've gotten older, maybe with Dad. But I try to keep in perspective that Dad was in his 50s, you know, when I was before, you know, when I was a teenager, in his late 50s, when I was a teenager. And I'm like, I had no idea. I'm like, if I was 50 years old raising a teenager, like, dude, I'm here. What else you want me to do? So I'm trying to keep it, you know, in mind and perspective, like just that idea of there's more, of course. There's always the wanting of more. I wish I knew, you know, more from the family. I like I said, I have the way I live my life, and a lot of it's through career, right? Of time, how important it is, organized. If I have a goal and I want something, it needs to be focused and organized. And, you know, I've been to a family reunion, and that was the last time I really thought about doing it. You know, I just kind of like you guys have said, I didn't leave with that feeling. Yeah. I felt awkward the whole time, you know, and I didn't know anybody.
Hey, hey, let me tell you why you felt awkward the whole time. That's because I wasn't there. Because hey, Devin, do you drink beer?
Every once in a while, yeah.
Okay,
not casually, but if I'm going somewhere doing something, then yes.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what, man. The next time me and you meet each other, man, me and you gonna hang out, bro. Because it ain't no reason why you should get. Hey, listen to me.
That's a good question.
Because I enjoy the stories, man. It's everybody was in their own groups, and nobody wanted to talk to each other.
It ain't no reason why you should feel awkward at a family reunion.
Do you
That's
think
absolutely
now,
I don't disagree.
do you think now it makes a difference what Billy's doing now with getting cousins together who've never really
Absolutely. Let me start.
met?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Without question. Without question. Hands down.
And there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And I, like you said, it's UBU live and everything. But there are wrong ways to go about things.
Yeah.
That and I will tell you this, and Billy, I know you said, you know, you had your kind of startup and you've gotten love and hate, I'm sure. People actively reaching out, people actively willing to come on.
Mm-hmm.
Something's going right. You know, so it's one of those things where for me, I'm similar to my brother. I'm pretty introverted, unless I have a purpose, right? So when I work, I'm not.
CJ's an introvert.
Yeah, he's traditionally a private person. Now if he's out, I almost feel like it's one of those, like it's a reaction, right? He needs to force it, but he has will. He has a lot of will.
He has ripped me apart multiple times.
Your family.
Yeah, your family.
Family.
Your family, and he knows you.
And you probably deserved it, Bill.
Yeah.
You probably had it coming. So quit crying about shit you had coming.
If CJ could put up 50-foot fences around his house, he would. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where, and I trust me, I'm sure I get a lot of how I see things through his lens a lot of the times. Okay. You know, his maturity started way before mine, but you know, I only have so much time, right? So if I'm giving my time, especially as I get older, where other people deserve that time. So if I'm making that time for you, it's got to be important. It's got to be worth it. It's got to have there's got to be a process to why we're doing this, like meeting my family, right? And getting to know who I am, why I am the way I am, right? And just getting a better understanding of who we have out there and the support that we have. You know, if it weren't for Tony being close by, there were times when I was very much summer California, Devon, in Ohio, and that doesn't work. You know, like, and I think there were points where I needed somebody to pop my inflated balloon head a few times. And I was part of Big Brother, Big Sisters, which helped. You know, but that was, you know, and he did a great job. I don't want to say anything, but like there is still a difference between a white male figure, right?
No, you're right. You're right.
Right. And I needed both.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Because
you know, I needed both.
Because
but
both. And
it took Tony.
Yeah.
Yep. It took Tony finding time to be with me in person. And CJ finding time to talk to me on the phone and be there when he could. And if I didn't have that outlet, man, I'd be a completely different human being, you know? And that's why, like, I got excited when you guys were talking about, like, hey, you know, different family members going to school in different areas and being there for each other. And even if it's just, I mean, just to go and meet someone and talk to someone and sometimes just have a hard conversation.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I know we only knew each other a little bit, but we're family. You need to calm that shit down.
Yeah.
Right? Or holy crap, man, like you're a genius. Who's told you were stupid your whole life? They're the dumb ones. Like you never know which direction that goes. Sometimes somebody just needs someone to say something. They don't need to take them to dinner. They don't need to go to a football game. That would be great too. Sometimes it's just, hey, let's hang out in my driveway for a minute.
Yeah.
That's
Have
my
beer
brother.
with cousin Phil.
Yeah.
That's me.
I've
With a
never
couple
been in his
beers.
house.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
Well,
I've
hey,
never been in
it,
the house. Just a
whatever
garage.
you like. It don't have to be beers. Whatever you like.
Just come. Just
We can do
come
some
be
mixed
with
drinks.
me. Just come be with me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be you. Just,
Hey, you throw some burgers
just
on a grill, I'm all there.
yeah, hey, just be you and come mess with me, man.
Yeah, that's what I like about this, Bill. I'm so glad that you're doing this because it gives all of us a different perspective of each facets of our lives and how we actually are related and how our lives are actually intermixed with one another.
Yeah.
Because even if we didn't grow up, we're still family.
Right.
Yeah. And we have a lot of similar stories,
And we still have a part of each other.
good or bad.
You know, I see so much of Scott in Devon that he probably doesn't know exists.
Yeah.
You know? It's
That sailor picture of Uncle Charlie kind of looks like Devin right there.
you know, you're right. It does. I never
I
thought
don't look anything like Dad when he was younger because Dad looked like a little girl. His long hair.
with the long curls. With the
Yep. I was like, he was looking like Michael Jackson before Michael Jackson. I was like, what's going on here?
He's a Jimmy. His mom wouldn't cut
Yeah.
and he had long.
Oh, there's a picture of him with long straight hair, and I'm talking like I thought it was Rita. I was like, what? I was like, he's like, yeah, you know, your grandma made me do that. I'm like, ain't nobody could make me take that picture.
Oh, you knew Aunt Sarah like we knew.
Oh, Grandma Sarah was also not a small woman. She could make. I guess she could physically make you do anything she wanted.
If you knew Aunt Sarah like we did,
Yeah.
yes, you could.
I'm like, Grandma Sarah had Ray Lewis shoulders.
So did you meet Grandma Sarah?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I think all the Scott women, except for Aunt Cecilia, were very broad-shouldered women. Like my grandmother was very like B. Arthur.
Yeah, Grandma Scott. Nah, she wasn't quite that.
My best way I've always described it is every, especially my dad's generation, was every Scott was tall, but they were built
Right.
for their size.
Yeah.
So if they were 6'2", their shoulders were that width. Like they were never bean poles.
No.
You know, they could run you over, and it didn't matter if it was a male or a female.
Either you had it or you didn't.
Yeah.
And most of the females were actually tall for our generations and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because Unfortunately, Barbara was the only short one among us. But all of my other female cousins, they were tall for the age group that you were coming in. Most of the men were tall and athletic.
Yeah, I'm still mad about the height. I got the athleticism. I missed out. I mean, I'm 6 foot, but in our family, that's nothing.
Well,
Well,
no,
I'm
there's a lot
4'2", so
4'2".
yeah. Philip is close to 6 feet. He's not 6 feet, but he's close to it.
See, if you're around 6 foot, that's average height in our family. Your uncles were the only really, really tall ones.
Yeah, I mean, Dad's 6'4", Uncle Pablo's 6'9", Freddie's tall.
No.
6'9".
Freddie's 6'9". Freddie's 6'9".
Yeah.
Pablo was about 6'6".
He was in between the two.
Yeah, Jimmy was
Yeah.
the shortest,
Yeah.
and Freddie was the tallest. Yeah, and I think Chrissy's about 6'4". I think he's
Yeah.
about 6'4". Yeah, we got some tall. Ivan and all them. They were, they were pretty tall. Now, Daddy
Didn't
was
pass that.
6 foot, and my brother was only 6 foot.
Hmm.
But we had height, but we also
Yeah.
had athletic abilities too in most
Yeah.
of the male and females. Because Mary was she used to run. Mary.
That's what CJ did.
Mary is Pooji's sister. And when Pooji was running track and field, Mary would be running alongside of him outside. He'd be, and there was 8 years difference in their age. Mary was she was good at track and field too. But yeah, anyway, that's cousin talk. Here I go again. Let me see.
So I'm waiting for one more special guest.
Oh, we got somebody else coming in? Oh, they're gonna.
Not yet. I'm waiting.
Okay.
Phil?
What's up?
Hey,
What's
Jim,
going on?
what is Train? Is he about ready to graduate?
Yeah, he'll be graduating here. He's got another year
Okay. That's what
this year.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Phil, you getting old, Phil?
I'm 55. I'm 55 going on 25.
Hold on. You're 55 and you're the younger one, right?
No,
Yeah.
he's not. No.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
This is a setup, see?
No. Devin.
Hey, but I can still
Devin.
slam dunk a basketball though.
Devin, we're gonna.
Yeah, but I can give you an exact day and year.
Okay, look. This is going wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending our show today.
I'm just trying to learn about my cousins. All right.
Hey,
Take care, Bill. Hey, I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Bill.
You can feel as young as you want.
That's right.
I was joking about that, Philip.
He was just kidding.
Oh,
And I'm only saying that because I am fairly young still. So if I wasn't, I probably wouldn't be saying nothing.
Yeah.
Well, Devin.
You are.
hey,
You are
hey, Devin.
How old are you,
Hmm.
Devin?
Hey, how old are you, Devin?
36.
Okay.
baby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
Hey,
fair,
Devin.
yeah.
Hey, can I talk to Devin for a second?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead, Phil.
You see that, Devin? Hey, Devin.
Yeah.
You see how it is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're
So,
listening.
Devin.
It's like you're one of the elders.
Hey, Devin.
I hear you.
Do I have a delay?
No.
Yes, you do.
Can y'all see me?
Yes, we can. You're having a delay.
We can see you, and everybody can hear you. Everybody,
Mhm.
you're loud. Okay.
Devin,
Yes.
can you slam dunk?
Not anymore. Mm-mm.
You ever got into
Not-
coaching?
No.
Do your girls play any sports?
Right now they do gymnastics, dance. Are the two things they're doing right now.
What's your favorite food?
Mine,
Yeah, I just asked you what's your favorite food.
either hamburger or tacos. One of those two.
What's your favorite car? What's your dream car?
Probably Koenigsegg
A what?
Oh,
out of Sweden. So it's one of the fastest cars in the world.
Never heard of it. Say it again.
what's your favorite color?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I want
Black.
a car.
It's called a Koenigsegg.
Koenigsegg.
Yes. They go every couple of years. They go with Bugatti back and forth on who has the fastest car in the world.
I've never heard of that.
But they're hand built.
And what-
The guy that owns the company is the one that designs everything, which is impressive.
Hey, Devin,
Yes,
where you live at? Where you at right now, bro?
just south of Columbus, farm country.
Oh, so you in Ohio?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, in the middle of building a house.
Are you
So
out?
busy
okay.
times.
What's your religious preference? You Catholic? I'm just trying to get to know you a little bit.
Go ahead.
I'm not. I don't have one. I've had a few bad experiences when it comes to a couple different churches I've been to. So a lot of the things I do when it comes to religious is just me, by myself and having that conversation.
All right. So
So-
if you had to choose today, these are all general questions. Just
Yeah.
if you had to choose today to be a Crip or a Blood, which one would you choose?
I would never ever. Well, this is on YouTube, so let me be careful. But
Hey,
there's only
hey,
one
hey,
color
Bill,
it would ever be.
Hey, Bill.
There's only one
you
color
better
it would
take this
ever
show
be.
back.
No, go ahead. Keep talking.
Hey,
There's
Bill,
only
you
one
better
color it
take
would
this
ever,
show
ever,
back.
ever be.
Go ahead.
I'm just
Keep talking. You got this.
Hey, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
Although
clowning around, bro.
Kendrick's changing everything. We're all going to be friends soon.
I'm just clowning around, man.
No, you're
Hey,
good.
you're all good. You're all good.
That's what I do. Hey,
Thankfully, I haven't had to worry about it in a long time. I live in farm country. The only things I got to worry about is for Crips is if any of my kids get crippled falling on a gymnastics bar.
That's not
No,
gonna
the
happen.
reason why I
That's not
say
gonna
that,
happen.
the reason why I say that is because it was so refreshing that this is the first show that I happen to be on that we started talking about Carson and Compton and LA and Crip and all that.
You're taking them back.
That's
It's
all right.
all good, baby.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
good, man. Yeah. Yeah. So and see, that's the beauty of this show.
Preach.
Because just think about it, man. If me and Devin, if me and you ever do meet, I'm walking up
Not
right
strangers
up on you,
anymore.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah. Now this is actually my first show,
Yeah.
and I support my brother as long as he's doing something that I believe in and everything, and of course, cousin Debbie, it makes it even that much more better. But it's just refreshing, man, to be able to, come on the show and meet family members that we never met, but be talking about Compton
Real stuff.
but we talked about Christ and being parents. We've talked about a lot. So
Yeah.
that's what I love about this show.
Yeah.
So,
And anybody who would question this kind of show needs to come on the show and just go with the flow and talk about what they want to talk about.
yeah, we're not steering it in a bad direction. We're just unpeeling the layers back. And one of the things that I said, I believe last week.
Billy, I can hardly hear you.
Speak
Can
up.
you hear me? Can you hear me now?
You're
Much
soft,
better.
though.
I think everybody turned their volumes down from when Phil was rolling.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I took my headphones off. I could hear everything he was saying.
I can't say nothing. My wife thinks I'm screaming at all times.
Hey, it's a family trait.
I was gonna say that's a Scott trait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling me, Devin.
No, what one of the things Devin mentioned and I've been talking about over the last couple of episodes is getting our family reunions to be more um, first outside of Springfield to get people out of the comfort zone and to have it more interactive. So I was talking about all inclusives where you can go jet skiing, you can go volleyball on the beach, and you can, or you go on a cruise, and everything's catered to you, but they actually have excursions. So at each age group, you can find something to do that builds some type of interaction, and,
Yeah.
and you're not sitting there going, okay, now what
How do you create a memory? Yeah, you need to be able to create a memory. If it's not new, if it's not exciting, then that you're now responsible,
right,
personally, for creating that memory for them, which is a lot. That's a lot for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's why I thought like the excursion thing and having, everyday activities, but different activities, because Debbie's not going to want to go on a jet ski, and your kids might want to go on the water slide. So there's something for different age groups, and each age group and age is just in your mind, right? So it depends on where you fit, can do what they feel most comfortable with. Catamaraning, snorkeling, jet skiing, water sliding, playing volleyball, basketball. We can have tournaments, just different things that are more interactive as opposed to a hall at the Holiday Inn.
But Bill, let me share something with you, Bill.
Yes.
What you're doing is so unique because me, man, I don't need all that to be able to bond. Like, for an example, if we could somehow get more of our cousins to get on this show, it doesn't matter where we have it at.
It wouldn't matter
had a bond.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the other point.
Hey, Bill, hold on, man. Bill, hold on. And I'm gonna use Devin as an example. I can't wait to hang out with Devin. and we don't have to be at the Bahamas. We could be in Springfield.
Yeah. Let me
but you know what? I'm telling you this.
And I get it.
No lie. And hold on for a second. I listened to you. I agree with everything you just said, but you would be shocked if we spent a 4-day weekend in the Bahamas.
In Carson?
I've been in Carson.
In the Bahamas. New Orleans would be a hell of a day.
Yeah, I love
that. Is some crazy times. You could do alligator hunting. You can drink all night if that's what you want to do.
Let me interject something real quick.
Of course.
The only reason why the reunions were held in Springfield, and it was every other reunion, it was out of respect for my
owners.
Yeah, it was so that because they couldn't travel like we could, and we brought it to them
exactly
so that we didn't inconvenience them. Once the initial, the uncles and the aunts for me, once they had passed on, we're now more able to travel than we were in the past. Now, what you say is a good idea. The thing of it is how are you going to get it across, and who are you going to get it across to?
It can't be me. It would have to be
you. Is
it would have to be Chris or Kathy or the Jacksons. I am very far removed, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to put this together. There's a picture, I don't know if you ever saw it before, Devin, of Debbie and all of her cousins in the stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We don't have that. Me and CJ don't have that. It's not something that we have as cousins. And the fact that half of us don't even know that we exist is a problem. The fact that you go to a family reunion and you spotted it right away at your first time, people are in silos.
Yeah.
So this group stays with this group. This group stays with this group. There's no commingling. one of the first things I've done a lot of stuff in my life, but one of the first things I would do, even at Brooke's wedding, one of the things we did was we made sure that the families were not sitting next to each other. So me and
Flipping the families. Yeah.
me and Alex's mom sat next to each other. So that's how it was done. So it wasn't their side versus our side. So every table was intermixed with family, and we all had to figure it out. It was a 4-day wedding, so that also excursions. We had things to do every single day.
Yeah.
And I am not, and anyone out there listening, I am not criticizing Springfield. There's just not that much to do.
I will.
There's just not that much to do. I mean, after the banquet, except for to go to someone's house and drink, but then you have to get invited to it.
I gotta stick up for Springfield just for
I know. Go ahead.
I gotta stick up for Springfield. So
You the only one.
Go ahead.
Well, I do think so. So the biggest thing, and like I said, my example is just obviously it's kind of what I think we've heard a few different times of. And once again, it's not a Springfield thing, and it might even be the fact of if we were doing it somewhere else, or you created an excuse to break away, right?
Yeah.
But for me, right, who was already fairly uncomfortable, I didn't know enough about our family in general. So not just people, just my dad and where he fit, and like outside of the uncles and a few of their kids, which granted, once again, my age gap of being my dad's son, I'm so much younger than a lot of my first cousins. I'm younger than some of my second cousins, right? So for me, it was one of those things of, okay, I'm going to a small space in an area where my only option is to be here, right? And we're going to just be in this one room. And there are very clearly people that know each other way better than they know me, right? And, so that breakaway, like I didn't have something to get excited about and interesting about to then start a conversation with people I didn't know very well. So, and it's not necessarily a Springfield thing, because I'm sure there's somewhere else in Springfield that isn't like a Holiday Inn where that would change. Or like, I know when I was there, within the first 15, 20 minutes of being there, I remember Carmen's like, why aren't we doing this in Chicago?
Right.
It's not that far.
Yeah.
And at least there would be reasons for the younger generation, the middle generation, the elder generation to be like, okay, elders can, if they want to, they can have their own time, maybe with something that they did before because they grew up here. And then that next generation who broke apart, the first tier that really broke apart, went all over the country, can go and have a nice dinner and talk and do everything else. And the younger generation, like Carmen just was like, let's go drink. Like it was just, that's not what my dad's going to want to go do. And that's not what, some of the other people. So it was just like, that wasn't an option. So now I'm feeling awkward. I'm bringing at that time, I don't know, I can't remember if Morgan was my fiance or wife, but like her first time, which is ridiculous. It was basically almost my first time, right? Like I come to visit Grandma Sarah, and which is where, Debbie, I've seen you multiple times, and it was sometimes from coming to see Grandma and everything else. But for the most part, there was a lot more people. Like I didn't even know why there's two other names. Like, isn't it just Scott? Like what? I don't understand, right? So that, and then I'm bringing someone else. Yeah. So it's like, if I feel that way, how does she feel? Yeah. Right. And she grew up here in a small farm town. And once again, doesn't look like anybody else in our family. So it is. Well, but in that room, it was very true at the time.
Well, we're very multiracial, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
but multi is what it is. For a lot of us, we're multi.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus only one thing individually. Right. And so it was just like, for me, I would have loved the ability to say dinner, bar, go-kart, jet ski, let's go
Yeah.
pick a basketball, right?
Yeah.
Like if you would have, like, if somebody just walked up to me in that time and was like, hey, we're about to go play some basketball, throw some football, I would have remembered that trip for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right.
And the only thing I remember is I didn't want to do it again.
And
Yeah,
see, that's what
yeah.
you guys are missing. That I call it
Yeah.
the stair cousins. That's
Correct.
what we
Yeah. There needs to be a memory.
Yeah, we basically grew up, even though some of them moved away, we grew up close enough that wherever we would meet, wherever part of the country it was in, like if I saw Jimmy, I said, Jimmy, come on, let's go do this and that. We could go off and do it because we had a connection that we could do that.
Yeah.
Actually, I could do it with you and CJ. I have met y'all when y'all were
Yeah.
younger. That there's a connection there that you would say, okay, she's cool. We can go do that.
Yeah.
We've lost that connection.
Yeah. But I do think this is helping. There's just a lot of us. So it would take a lot of these podcasts before a reunion for a put us in a hotel anywhere in the country and it work. Right. Like it's not a Springfield issue. It's a be in one room and make it work over 3 days.
What I'm going to tell you, Devin, is that this is a part of it, but I firmly believe that if we used our reunions to create an experience every day that gave people multiple options, you wouldn't need to necessarily. I think this is great. I think this is a great first start, but I think that if we had a more an experience versus a ballroom or a banquet, it would lend to us joking and having fun.
I mean, there is a reason businesses don't do that anymore. They do excursions. They do to make that connection, and that's not family. Those are people that legitimately might hate each other.
Hey, let me interject real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I'm the kind of man, I don't need an excursion to hang out and have a good time. Because if it's gonna cost me three, listen, this is just me being me.
Go ahead.
If it's gonna cost me $4,000 or whatever to go hang out with family, I'd rather take that $4,000 and take me, Phyllis, and Train somewhere. So what I'm saying is, one thing that
hold on.
That
Stop. Please. Hey, just let me get in for a second, okay?
That is what it cost me to get to Springfield, by the way.
That's what it costs us to get to Springfield. And what I'm saying is, Phil, you'll take that same $4,000 and you can be in the Bahamas with us. So the same thing that you're saying is the same thing that Devin and I are saying, which is it's going to cost us $4,000 to fly into Chicago and then to take a crop duster to get to Springfield, or to rent a car and drive for 4 hours, where that same $4,000 could feed us at an all-inclusive. Like if I got 200 people to agree to do this, I can get us a Royal Caribbean or Cancun for less than $4,000, all-inclusive, meaning that all of our excursions are paid for, all of our food, dinner, and things are paid for. We can have a private room for a banquet.
I know. I guess what I'm saying is, is that
Can I?
It is.
While Phil is thinking, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is similar to what you're saying, and I can.
Go ahead.
On my mother's side of the family, this August we will be having consecutively our 106th anniversary of a reunion in the same place every year in Marion, Indiana. Well, actually, it's in Weaver, Indiana, but it's in Marion, Indiana, which is outside of Indianapolis. It's a very, but for 106 years, we have consecutively met in that small town and had a family reunion. And it is well attended.
Really?
It is. It is very well attended. And it's what you have established on what you will make of that town is smaller than Springfield. So there's
Yeah.
even less to do. In fact, you're basically talking about cornfields for real cornfields.
See,
But they, as a family, they meet every year there, So it's a lot of it has to do with what you have established as a
already.
and unfortunately, what has happened with our family after you got out of my generation, our kids, they moved away.
Yeah.
And we didn't come back and meet so that we could know each other. Example, there were 32 first cousins. I knew every last one of them and
Yeah.
most of their children. You guys don't have that because
Yeah.
your parents moved away from Springfield and
Yeah.
you didn't have that core family to bring you back.
Yeah, I think all three of you are right, and it depends on, like you said, what situation we're in right now. So like that 106 years is amazing, but I don't think we're too separated for that to work.
Yeah.
So and then Phil, I completely agree. I think Phil could show up at my business tomorrow and be friends with everybody there, but I don't think there's not every one of us isn't like Phil. So that's where it becomes hard. And for like Phil, like if Phil like shows up at the Holiday Inn, he's like, "Hey, Devin, let's go get some beers," and I'm like, "Where?"
Yeah.
That's where my problem ends up being, right? Where it's like, "Hey, I don't mind seeing the town."
Hey, Devin.
But I want a reason.
If you show up to Springfield, I'll set it out.
I know.
That's what we're saying. But the thing of it is if Billy hadn't started this,
yeah,
a lot of pressure,
earlier,
Billy.
We would.
It's your fault, Billy.
Yeah, I've been telling him.
But Phil, really, seriously, Phil,
If you didn't keep calling people Chris and pushing them away, and just
I actually said CJ in a serious moment.
You did a good job today.
A couple of
after 4 Chris's.
Yeah.
That's
them the rules.
And the best part is you pause and then you say, so you know you had the shot.
Hey, Debbie, you was trying to say something.
Who? Devin or Debbie?
Debbie.
I'm saying that the thing of it is this is going to help bring. I think I have high hopes that this will bring us back together as a family. Here I go, Billy. Stop me if
Brian.
As the Scotts need to reunite themselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have strayed from being a family, and just like Philip is saying, he wants to be able to come up to a cousin and say, "Hey, come on, let's go have a beer," and not worry about, who's who,
being judged.
Yeah, you're my cousin. Yeah, come on, let's go. Your family, come on, let's go. Or if Phil, I'm sure would accept it. He said, "No, man, I'm not into that." Phil said, "Okay, cool, and you walk away. I mean, because everybody's not going to get into everything that everybody does. That's understandable. But you've got to have a common ground to get to.
Yeah. And we need to know if we're like if this is going through and it just the way we talk and connect doesn't vibe, then that wouldn't work anyways.
Right.
But there's
I know it would work now.
There hasn't been one show where we haven't vibed. And one more thing, and this is intentional, and I want everyone to hear this very clearly. In any of the shows, we've never asked one person what they do for a living. We haven't asked them what their title is. We haven't asked any of that stuff. We've asked them who they are as a person.
Yeah.
And so what that says is I'm not looking for the most affluent. I don't care if you're on welfare. I don't care where you're at in life.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a good person? Are you family?
Yeah.
Let's connect. And you know what? Are you not a good person? Should we intervene?
Do you need help? Do you
need help? All of us have done something. Devin just said it. And I think people do not admit this enough because everyone wants to say, I made it on my own, and I was perfect, and nothing ever in my life bad happened. And Devin sat here and said, I needed Tony. I needed CJ to step in and have conversations with me, or my life could have turned out different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No one does it alone. Nobody does. And anyone who says that is a lie. There was someone out there. Is that Phyllis? Does she want to say hi?
Is that Phyllis?
Is that Phyllis?
Philip, is that your wife?
I think Train said that they couldn't do it. They couldn't come on today
Oh, okay.
because
All right.
they're in Chicago
Okay.
for my
No,
mother-in-law's.
I texted him, so that's probably why he
Okay.
responded to you.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That was my other. That was gonna be my final special guest.
Oh.
Was going to be Train, and
Oh.
his name is Train because when my brother heard the ultrasound, he said his heart sounded like it was going.
Like a train.
Oh,
So he named him Train. And I'm gonna say one more little story for you. This is just the difference between him and I. Very, very much no frills. Very, very much frills. Okay.
yeah.
So
That is true.
for his first Christmas, I flew out cousins from another side, me, Stacy, Amanda, and Brooke, and I brought out the Disney store. No dolls at all, right? But every single stuffed animal. And at that time I had 2 cars, right? But one was a Z4, and it was me and Stacy in the Z4. We had to take the top down, and she was packed. The trunk was packed. She was in the car. She's like, I can't see anything. We were driving. I got to Springfield with all those damn stuffed animals. Dumbo, Mickey Mouse, Pluto. And Phil said, I thought it was going to be adorable, right? All these stuffed animals. And he said, nah, man. And he said, I already set up his room. And that room had football paraphernalia all over it. There was a football in the bed.
Hey, y'all, now y'all do know when he gets done telling his story, it's gonna be my turn.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything wrong so far. That sounds exactly how I would have done it.
There's nothing wrong with it.
But that's his story.
Hold on. And
But he's telling his story.
and
You're not gonna tell me to hold on.
Philip had an acceptance letter. Because talk about manifestation, right? You have to say it.
Yeah.
And his son is a star football player.
Yep.
He got
That's
accepted into Rutgers.
That's
Yep.
right.
He decided on his own that he wanted to go to Indiana because he'd get more playing time.
Yeah.
He gets great grades.
I watched a couple games.
Yeah,
I will say this real quick. I will say I saw his number. I was like, okay, I know that's my cousin. And I was like, and it was one of the games where I think he was doing punt return or something. And I was like, oh, I'm excited. All right, I hit record. I'm like, I'm gonna record this. And it was he muffed like a punt that one time. I was like, I'll never record again. It was my fault. He dropped that ball because of me. I know the rules to how this works. I was like, I'll never do it again. I'm sorry, man. I was only watching my Buckeyes win national championship. I'm sorry, buddy.
Okay, hold on. Phil, do not
Go ahead.
Phil, do not stop me on this. I went.
Well, I'm gonna stop you just because you told me not to.
Yeah, you should have never told him not to.
I went to an away game that was an hour away. The streets were icy, and they lost. And I swear to God, hand in air, that Philip blamed me.
Yeah, 100%. It's your fault.
Like he wins every game, and then you show up, and he drove home like a demon. Like I was in the. I think I farted in the car. Like it was like I was like. I got out of that car and I didn't know how to address him because I was so fucking scared for an hour. It was like the longest drive home. and he's like, and his
Yeah.
wife is sitting there like nothing is wrong. I'm like, this is not normal.
I have to actively restrain my emotion. Like I literally have to say sorry to my wife sometimes because like we'll watch a game and if Ohio State starts losing, I'm like, we're not supposed to be in the same room together. That's the problem. So I finally started learning and saying it's me. I need to leave because I'm causing the problem versus her. And it was like there was like 3 games in a row where Ohio State was like down by like 20 points or something like that. And then we went to 2 different rooms to watch, and they came back and won. That's a lot of points to come back from 3 times. I'm like, all right, there's clearly a problem, and it's us. We can't watch the games together.
That's insane, but okay. Now, Phil, your side, and I never found out whatever.
So my side is
all my
so
Disney stuff.
so my side is that I've always told my brother I'm more of a relationship guy. Don't spend $2,000 on stuffed animals, but never have a 2-minute conversation with him.
Yeah.
That was my thing with the stuffed animal. I've always appreciated my brother's intentions, but my survival technique is I have to communicate with people. So that's my side of the story. I wasn't upset about the stuffed animals. I was upset that this dude literally spent probably about $3,000-$4,000 on stuffed animals that
he could have put he could have put into his college fund instead.
he could have said, "Hey, yeah."
You know that
Is that a family trait? Because I have a similar problem. I hate gift giving everything because I'm always like I'm really bad at lying. Like my face can't lie. So if I get something that makes no sense, I'm like I'm upset. Not because I got a gift that I don't like, because you wasted your money, and I know how hard it is to make money. I'm like, nah, like I'm not going to buy you something you didn't tell me you wanted.
That's right. That's
right. And I'm also a big believer in like you need things when you need things. Like my wife and I, a lot of times we don't do gifts for different like holidays or birthdays. What do you want? I want that bag. Well, your birthday's in 4 months. I know you want that bag today. Like, just go get the bag. Like, whatever. Now, some bags you can't get. No, hold on. It's either no or just go get it.
But you know
I was trying to tell Bill in that moment that $2,000 in stuffed animals. Just give me $2,000 worth of diapers. She's 3 years old. That means we don't have to buy no more diapers, homie. Let's keep it real.
Would you say that?
Because them stuffed animals, man.
So
Billy, that's a really long drive of excitement for that wake up call. Once you arrive.
I flew in. I had to fly in, and I flew in like 4 or 5 different people. So that it was his first Christmas ever. And
that's funny.
You know what? That's the same thing that I told you guys earlier that Amanda and Brooke have said. My love language is a gift.
Yeah.
That's my love language. And even with Train's first Christmas, I hadn't intended to do that. I walked into the Disney store and I'm like, this is his first Christmas. And I went to buy one thing and just went like crazy. And then Stacey's like, how are we getting all this stuff on the plane? I don't remember how we got it there.
Wow, yeah. How did you get it on the plane?
She was yelling at me. We should have brought this in Springfield. We should have,
They don't have business.
You want to know what my love language is, Bill? Hey, Bill.
Taking my phone call.
Bill, you want to know, or Deb, you want to know what my love language is?
What is it, Philip? What?
Go ahead.
It's my time.
Yeah.
My love language is my time.
And I know that if
the time I'm spending right here.
Yeah. If Philip's there, I know it's because he loves it. He wouldn't be there if he didn't love you. And that's what I've always liked about Philip. You can't get more honest than Phil. You can't get no more. And yeah, our time is getting to that point, Billy. So I'm gonna shut up.
Okay. So, is anyone else getting feedback?
A
A
little
little
bit.
bit.
All right. So someone is listening to this in two different. Oh, maybe it's me.
Yeah.
It could be. All right. So, do you guys want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Final thoughts. I'm gonna end with you, Devin, and because I want to give you time to really think about something profound about how amazing I am and about
Okay.
how great this opportunity is. And everyone Debbie is focused on Philip and Devin about time and stuff, and she never ever compliments me, but it's okay. I'll wait. She'll text me something later.
Yes,
All
I
right,
will.
so we will start. We'll start with Debbie. Your final thought.
I am totally enjoying this podcast. I've never been on a podcast in my life, and what I am experiencing with my cousins is awesome, and I am so appreciative. I'm actually giving you a compliment, Bill.
Keep all this in mind, Devin.
I am so appreciative. No, seriously, I am very appreciative of this, and it's also giving me insight on who I am. And thank you.
And the way that you connect everybody. One of the things that is so wonderful is that everyone knows who Debbie is.
That's and I'm gonna say this and let it go. It's because of my dad. My dad made sure that he visited all of his nieces and nephews. He tried to visit all of them. There was only one that he didn't make it to, but my dad was very family orientated. He went and visited everybody in Springfield. Every Sunday we were over at Grandma's house. He made sure that we knew family. Now, which one is this?
They're saying hi. This is Oakley,
Okay.
Hey, Oakley,
the oldest.
you're beautiful.
Yes, she is.
She
Okay.
can't hear you because I have a headset on, but I just wanted her to say hi.
Okay, tell her
Okay,
she's
wait.
beautiful, and we're excited to meet her.
All right, got it. Close the door.
Okay, I'm done. Thank
She
you.
was doing her makeup.
Oh,
Makeup?
Yeah, no. Let's just move on. Continue.
next on the next show, I'm going to tell you about Phil and his makeup. That's a great story. Phil, go ahead.
Phil, it's your turn.
You ain't gonna tell no story about me and no makeup.
I will. Okay, now I'm
Say
going
that.
to say it real quick right now. Okay, I'm going to make it
Okay.
listen quick. I don't know what Phil had done. Right, he was a young person. Philip was always a mess. He had to be like 18 or something like that. And he came to my house drunk.
No, man. Hey, you. Hey, let me give my final thoughts so we can get to Devin.
You might not get any good thoughts if you say the story first.
So,
Go ahead,
so,
Phil.
so, hey, man. My final thoughts, seriously, are I had fun today, man, and for me on a Saturday afternoon, that's how I want to spend my time. So if there's anybody out there, family members watching this show, think about coming on, give it a shot. It's a fun show. It's lighthearted, and it's with the purpose to bring family together.
Very good.
So, Bill, with that being said, I love you. I support what you're doing. And Cousin Debbie and Cousin Devin, I love you guys. And God's blessings to you. I appreciate you, Bill.
I love you so much, and it's so different than what I could ever expect. Our relationship is so strong.
Yeah. All right, Devin.
All right. So, to be honest, I was expecting very little. I mean, CJ speaks so well of you, that, I really thought this was going to be something different. No, so I will say this, one of the biggest things, and I've watched a few episodes and just, like I said, to learn, because that's the big thing. It's not just about the episode that we're on. This has been amazing because of the back and forth, being able to be involved and learn more directly. But I've learned just from watching some of the other episodes, and it makes it important, and I think that to step out, create something like this that a lot of people could easily say no to, and you're gonna get no's, and that's not always easy to take. And the ones when you're getting yes and you're bringing people on, it's being able to handle Cousin Debbie and my dad at the same time. I know they don't give Nobel Prizes for this type of thing, but man, that's already tough. But keeping it rolling, keeping it on point, and the thing I told CJ before agreeing to do this was the progression, right? So seeing it early on to even last week's episode, it's getting better. It's getting more on purpose. You're learning about people, but then there's progress. And for me, like I said, if we're going to spend the time, then I want to have a memory. And the memory is that connection of understanding of, hey, if I run into Phil, I'm not going to be as shy, right? It's not going to be one of those things where I don't feel like it's family, and I'm not going to feel bad going out, in the grass and saying, all right, I'm going to lock him up. I know he says he's good. Let's see. and have no problem with it. Right. Cause that was done to me. Right. And I knew I was better. And there's not much you can do with somebody 20 years older than you, just throws you on the ground. It is what it is. So having those moments and being able to bring us together it's not easy. Right. And you do it really well. You play with the jokes really well. As the host, you're always going to be the one that gets hit the most. Right. And although they're all accurate, you do take them very well. So I appreciate that. And of course, it's just great talking to everyone. And this isn't something that I get to do a lot. Most of my family isn't, even my closest family isn't here, so getting on and talking to you guys has been great. And it makes me feel a little bit closer, and it puts me in a better mind space to continue learning and continue the journey, and hopefully make more connections.
My thought or idea is that one day we do like a collection of everyone from previous episodes on one show.
Wow.
And so you just kind of build
That's
up.
a whole day. That's like 8 hours.
No. We'll cut it down. But family, they argue, they fight, they have different opinions. Again, we're all seeing things through a different lens, and we need to understand and accept each other for who we are, and let you be you, and not me expect you to be me. All right. So on that note, I love you all. This has been fantastic. Devin, you're invited anytime you want. Just let me know. And if you're ever watching a show and you just want to jump on like Brooke did, just ask me. I'll send you the link to come backstage. I think those little drop-ins are kind of cool too, because it kind of breaks it up for a second. She would have stayed longer, but she was in a mall. I knew that she couldn't hear, but let's go. Everyone have a great week. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. I love you, Mom.
Yes.
And I love you, Philip. I love everybody.
Love you too.
Debbie. Love you, Devin. Out.
Bye, guys.
Love you guys.
Bye.